A major political conversation is building across Nigeria ahead of 2027, and this time, the focus is once again on the continued detention and legal battle surrounding Nnamdi Kanu. What has made the situation even more intense is a fresh statement from one of Kanu's lawyers, who reportedly warned that ignoring the demands for his release could seriously affect political support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Southeast. That comment has sparked reactions from political observers, supporters, critics, and ordinary Nigerians who believe the issue may become one of the defining political discussions before the next general election. For many people watching closely, this is no longer only about a court case. It has now become tied to questions about national unity, regional trust, political negotiations, and whether the federal government can rebuild confidence in parts of the Southeast where tensions have remained high for years. Across social media and political circles, many Nigerians are debating whether the continued legal process involving Kanu is helping stability or making divisions even deeper. Before we continue, if you enjoy balanced political updates and real conversations about what's happening in Nigeria, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. And most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one topic many Nigerians have strong opinions about. The latest controversy started after comments reportedly made by a member of Kanu's legal team during discussions around his ongoing case. According to reports circulating online and in several local discussions, the lawyer suggested that if the federal government refuses to address growing concerns surrounding Kanu's detention, it could have major political consequences in the Southeast during the 2027 elections. The statement immediately triggered fresh debates, especially because voting patterns in the Southeast have already been changing in recent election cycles. Now, to fully understand why this matters so much, we need to go back a little. Nnamdi Kanu has remained one of the most controversial political figures in Nigeria over the past decade. As the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, commonly known as IPOB, he became widely known for his calls for self-determination and his criticism of the Nigerian government. While supporters view him as someone speaking for people who feel marginalized, critics argue that his activities increased tension and insecurity in parts of the country. The Nigerian government, on the other hand, has consistently maintained that the legal process against him is based on national security and other serious allegations. Over the years, his arrest, court appearances, and continued detention have generated strong emotions both inside Nigeria and internationally. Court rulings, appeals, legal arguments, and political reactions have all added layers to the issue, making it one of the most sensitive topics in the country's political landscape. What makes the latest statement especially important is the timing. Nigeria may still seem far from the 2027 elections, but in politics, calculations often begin years before voting day. Political parties are already watching public sentiment carefully. Leaders are monitoring regions where support may grow or weaken. And for the ruling party, every major regional issue becomes politically significant. The Southeast remains one of the most politically active regions in Nigeria. Many voters there have expressed frustration over what they describe as underrepresentation, insecurity, economic challenges, and federal neglect. Whether everyone agrees with those complaints or not, the reality is that these feelings exist among sections of the population, and politicians understand that public perception can strongly influence election outcomes. Some analysts believe the lawyer's comments were designed to increase pressure on the government by connecting Kanu's case directly to future political consequences. Others think the statement simply reflects the growing anger among certain groups in the region. But there are also Nigerians who disagree strongly with the idea of linking judicial matters with electoral politics, arguing that court cases should be handled independently without political threats or pressure. Interestingly, reactions have not been one-sided. Some people in the Southeast say they are tired of tension and want political leaders to focus more on economic development, jobs, infrastructure, and security instead of prolonged political battles. Others insist that without resolving long-standing grievances, it will be difficult to rebuild trust between the region and the federal government. At the same time, supporters of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu argue that his administration inherited many difficult national issues and should not be judged solely on one politically sensitive case. They point to efforts being made in areas like economic reforms, infrastructure projects, and attempts to stabilize the country's finances. However, critics counter that political reconciliation and national unity should also be treated as urgent priorities. Another important part of this conversation is how political influence works in Nigeria. Elections are rarely decided by one issue alone. Ethnic identity, religion, economic conditions, security concerns, party alliances, and candidate popularity all play major roles. So while some political commentators believe Kanu's case could significantly affect support in the Southeast, others believe voters will still focus more on broader economic realities by the time 2027 arrives. Still, there is no doubt that emotions around the issue remain strong. In many communities across the Southeast, Kanu continues to have vocal supporters. Demonstrations, public campaigns, and social media activism related to his release have continued despite government crackdowns and legal restrictions. For supporters, the case symbolizes larger concerns about fairness, justice, and political inclusion. On the other hand, many Nigerians outside the region worry that escalating rhetoric could deepen national tensions. Some believe political actors on all sides should reduce inflammatory language and focus instead on dialogue and constitutional solutions. There are also concerns about how repeated confrontations between separatist supporters and security agencies have affected ordinary citizens living in affected areas. According to various local accounts over the years, businesses in parts of the Southeast have sometimes suffered due to sit-at-home orders, fear of unrest, and insecurity linked to tensions surrounding the IPOB movement. Traders, transport workers, students, and families have all felt the impact in different ways. This is one reason why some community leaders continue calling for peaceful engagement rather than further escalation. Meanwhile, political strategists are carefully studying how regional dissatisfaction could shape future alliances. Nigerian politics often changes quickly, especially when influential regional blocs begin to shift. If opposition parties believe there is growing frustration in certain regions, they may attempt to build coalitions around those concerns ahead of 2027. For the ruling party, this means every sensitive national issue must be handled carefully. Public communication matters, legal decisions matter, political negotiations matter. Even symbolic gestures can influence how communities feel about the government. And in a country as politically diverse as Nigeria, maintaining national balance is always a difficult task. There is also the international angle. Human rights organizations and some foreign observers have occasionally commented on Kanu's detention and legal process. While the Nigerian government insists that its actions are based on the law and national security concerns, international attention has added another layer of scrutiny to the case. At the center of all this are ordinary Nigerians who simply want peace, stability, and better living conditions. Many citizens are more concerned about the economy, inflation, fuel prices, electricity, unemployment, and insecurity than political battles between elites. But because political tensions can affect national stability, stories like this naturally attract widespread attention. Another factor increasing interest is the growing role of social media in shaping public opinion. Statements from lawyers, politicians, activists, or government officials now spread across Nigeria within minutes. Sometimes, comments become more dramatic online than they originally were. That is why it is important for viewers to separate confirmed information from emotional reactions or political propaganda. So far, there has been no official indication from the federal government that political pressure tied to elections would influence the legal process involving Kanu. Government officials have repeatedly maintained that the matter remains before the courts and should follow legal procedures. Still, public pressure continues to build from groups demanding either his release or a political solution to calm tensions. As Nigeria moves closer to another major election cycle, issues like this will likely continue shaping political conversations. The big question now is whether leaders across different regions can find ways to reduce tension and rebuild trust before political divisions grow even wider. And honestly, many Nigerians are watching carefully because the outcome could affect more than just elections. It could influence national unity, regional stability, and the overall political atmosphere heading into 2027. If you've stayed with us to this point, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this discussion with others following Nigerian politics closely. And in the comments section, tell us your honest opinion. Do you think issues surrounding Nnamdi Kanu could seriously influence voting patterns in 2027? Or do you believe Nigerians will focus more on the economy and everyday survival? Stay informed, stay calm, and keep following the conversation as events continue to develop.